I can already tell you this is gonna be a great one. With me here today I have Valeri Sabev. He is an AI transformations expert and one of the only ones in the world that's certified in VoiceFlow. VoiceFlow is the leading platform in the world for creating AI chat and AI voice solutions. And I am Aleksandar Velev. I have generated over 50 million in sales pipeline for different B2B companies. And in this podcast, we share in very practical ways how you can transform your company into a leaner, faster, and more profitable organization. We cut out all of the fluff about AI and we share exactly how you can do it step by step. So this is the podcast for you.
I officially became the only certified expert voice flow developer in Bulgaria. 1 out of 7 in all of Europe. Like from a business standpoint, it's inevitable. It will happen. Or the people that don't do it, they'll eventually fall behind and die. Like you have to adapt. Open your eyes and do something about it. That's the only thing I can say.
I hate AI. I absolutely hate it. But we need your help. We need to implement it as quick as possible.
Invest in learning AI 100%. But I feel like you hear this everywhere, right? So where do you start is probably the next question.
You do AI transformations for companies, and this is a very big topic right now, right? Everybody's trying to do it. You have actually done it successfully for many companies, and I think you're an expert in the space.
So my name is Valeri. What do we do? So the company is called Valchy.ai. We make sure that your company goes into the right AI direction. And how do we do that? Well, we start with an AI audit. We spend 2 weeks with your company, really digging deep, understanding the processes and figuring out a custom solution for you. I know what I'm doing is going to save them time. It's going to increase their profits in a way or decrease their costs. But how do I get my foot in the door? How do I show this to my clients? And so the AI audit is a much cheaper way to actually demonstrate that.
The first question that comes to mind for me is, why do people need custom tools instead of just like a ready SaaS tool that they can implement?
I love this question. I really love it because software development no longer takes months and years to do. What took before months, you can do now in weeks. What took before weeks, you can do in days. And the productivity multiplier is somewhere around 7 to 8. It's absolutely incredible. And so from my personal experience, we've shifted towards the ability to create custom solutions incredibly fast, like very, very fast.
And what I would say is that if we talk like AI transformation specifically and voice agents, chatbots, there is not really a ready SaaS tool, right? There are tools with which you can make them, but there's not something where you can pay, $90 a month and then it just links to your website and it does everything. It needs a lot of custom setup. You need to create an actual knowledge base. You need to integrate it with different tools. And you know that probably from your experience, especially like if you don't work with SaaS companies, for example, they have a pretty standard tech stack. But if you work with local businesses, then you might just come across the most random tools. They don't have APIs, they don't have integrations. And then it's really difficult to connect your AI systems to those legacy old systems.
I was going to say that's right. And there's a lot of ways you can sell a tool, and there's a lot of different tools you can sell. But yes, there's a lot of legacy systems, and building something on top of that now is often pricier than actually building it from scratch. Before, I have, from my own experience, seen really big projects, go through me where I'm part of them, just because the system is old and developing further on that is just too costly. And now, once again, if we go back to vibe coding, and just essentially vibe coding is utilizing AI when you're programming. It just makes you so much faster, so much faster. For certain things, it's absolutely crazy if you prompted well the results you get. And so sometimes for those legacy systems, it is better to build something from scratch. And it is better to, because it's also an investment. You have to also look at it that way, right? So I've had clients where, for example, they want me to integrate something with their CRM. And I'm like, great, we can do that. How about I build you guys a custom CRM? They're like, oh, this is going to be too much. I'm like, no. And then we break down the functionalities, we break down what we want to achieve in the future, and this becomes an investment. And what I do is I show them how much money they're losing because of their outdated systems, and I show them in the future how much they're gonna gain uh, by utilizing a new system.
And that's really the power of AI audits, right? So imagine just a new guy comes to you, says, I'm gonna do this voice agent, I'm gonna do this enrichment system, I'm gonna do this AI follow-up. It's 10,000, for example. And then I think this is really a big issue with people selling AI. They focus on the AI. Most of the companies now, you go to their website, everybody has AI in their website, even if they just use ChatGPT for a couple of features. Right?
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of saturation in this, and like my prediction in the market is that soon we're gonna go back to like, people actually talking about their value, because everybody's gonna be using AI. It's not even going to be something that needs to be said on the landing page, unless you specifically provide custom AI solutions like yourself. But for the power of the audit, because I've also done some audits, but more so kind of in my space, which is sales and go to market. I know your solutions are kind of for different departments. It's much easier after you have done that audit from the perspective of the business owner. It's much easier for them to then go ahead and actually see how this integrates with what they currently do. Because I think they know the value is there. That's why they talk to you. That's why people research AI. That's why they are going to watch this podcast, is because they know the value of AI. But then the most confusing part from speaking to many business owners that want to integrate AI but don't know exactly how to do it is that it's confusing, and it's also a big concern that just how does it actually work? How does it integrate with what
Exactly.
it's really
Exactly.
not clear.
Because what I would add here is you're the expert, but it's your job to educate, to nurture, and to explain the value. It's like there's a great, I don't know where I heard this, but um, I read this somewhere or I saw it somewhere. Imagine you're technically a 10 out of 10, but your communication skills are a 3 out of 10. Then people perceive you as a 3 out of 10. And so you might have great solutions, but if you're unable to communicate the value to your client, and that's why I've always been client first. Let me understand your needs. Let me understand your pain points, and then let me show you how I'm gonna solve them.
Absolutely.
And people often miss that. You know, they focus on the solution, they dig too deep into that, and you know, if you're talking to some executives, some decision makers, they're not aware, they're not even close to the things that are in your head. And so a lot of the times you're talking, but to them it's like fluff. It's like these keywords that they hear, but they have no idea what it means. And like you have to understand who you're speaking to. When you're speaking to decision makers, speak numbers, speak ROI, speak what is the return on the investment? What is this gonna do in 6 months? Okay, it's a chatbot. So what? Show that it's gonna decrease by 60% the calls that the customer call center is going to receive. So what does that mean? Well, you take a salary, you take the time that is being otherwise wasted for these really basic questions, you find out how much that is per hour, you do the math, and you show it. And then with experience with a few clients, what you're able to do is actually have case studies and show that. And you build a lot of credibility. I mean, at this point, my company, so Valchy.ai, is becoming one of the leading, most credible voice flow agencies in Bulgaria. Actually, 2 days ago, I officially became the only certified expert voice flow developer in Bulgaria. 1 out of 7 in all of Europe. VoiceFlow is one of the most sophisticated platforms for building voice agents and AI chatbots.
And you're one of, you said 2 days ago, I think you even texted me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Even with AI audits, just to go back to it,
Sure.
sometimes I think they're not needed if the client is a little bit more aware. But this really goes back to understanding who you're selling to. So let's jump kind of to the perspective of the executives that want to buy these solutions. What advice would you give to them if they know that they need some sort of AI, but they don't know really where to start? What would you say to them?
I mean, it depends what your market is. It depends what type of solution you need. But there's plenty of agencies out there that offer what I offer. And it's a free exploration call. It's 20 minutes. Just hop on it. It's free. Talk to the person. Let them show you. Because that's also something that I don't fully understand. It I it it's 15, 20 minutes of your time, but it's going to show you immense value. So if you're a decision maker, if you're a business owner listening to this, just hop on a call, just ask a couple questions. I would advise you just be a little more curious. In the long run, this will help your business. This will make you more money. It will save you more money. It will allow your employees to be much more efficient. So it's a it's a risk-free investment apart from those 20, 30 minutes you might lose on a call.
Let's say they do get on some calls, they get some awareness. How do they, like, different people will be pitching them different solutions, or they might be looking at different AI tools? Like, where would you start if you had to advise an executive?
Okay, if my advice for an executive, I mean, I can give this is an interesting question because I'm extremely biased, right? So what I will do is open up any large language model, for example, ChatGPT. Tell it your business and ask what AI solutions could I implement, just so it gives you ideas. And then based on that, these ideas, you can maybe tailor who do I speak to, like which expert. Because you're very right that obviously different businesses might need different solutions. Sometimes, an agency will be very tailored to a specific one. But I think this way, again, this whole process is like 30 minutes. So 10 of them is you researching what solutions you need. Another 10 would be maybe 15 figuring out some of the agencies, which you can do with some basic queries, right? You can find them. They're out there. They want them to be found, right? And then book a call the last 5 minutes. Find a time slot that works and book it. The whole process is 30 minutes. And then you're going to have, hopefully, an expert on the other side that shows you and guides you through how this can actually benefit your business.
And I think there's really two options. One option is to get extremely educated, and I have some clients that went that route and they know a lot about AI. Maybe they don't build the actual solutions, but they know about vibe coding, they know about NA10, they know about VAPI, they know about all of these tools. And then the other one, which, if you are an executive, you're very busy with other things, right? So it might, like, even in that situation, to be honest, I'm thinking now you should still get educated. Maybe don't go so much into the tools, but go into how it could be implemented, look at different use cases and really try to understand how it works, because it is the future, right? And I think the way that future companies will work is not exactly how people believe. In my opinion, the way it's going to work is that, and I'll speak for the sales perspective, by the way, because that's where I have the most experience in. Let's say before you needed to have 10 SDRs to achieve a certain quota of meetings. Now you're just going to have the 3 best ones, and they're going to be focusing only on high leverage work. So they're not going to be doing pointless research, like going and opening 10 different tabs, researching each company. They're not going to be updating the CRM. They're not going to be doing, there's 100 different small things that they need to do. So if you actually look at what percentage of time salespeople spend on actually talking to customers or trying to like actually being on the call with somebody, it's like 30 or 40% of the time. So 60 to 70% of their time is spent on something else. Now, what if you can have AI that helps them spend more of that time on selling, but also I'm actually building a SaaS on this, a SaaS company, monitoring them and helping them follow the best practices. So they can be following up on time. They can just have everything in front of them, the right research, the right prospects to talk to. And then you can easily have a team of even 2 or 3 SDRs and achieve the same results as 10 people that are okay or slightly good. And I think this probably goes for every department out there.
I know decision makers are busy, I'm sure, but it's always going to be a good investment. If you have zero knowledge of AI, taking the time to at least understand, and also it's your business, right? This will help you, and I can guarantee you it will help you. Hop on a call with me and I'll show you. I don't want to sell it, but I will show you how it will help you. So, busy or not, at the end of the day, if they want to grow their business, this is definitely something that they should put in some time or delegate it. Get someone to actually spend in the company some time researching and understanding that. Because yes, just to go back to a question earlier, maybe you actually really don't have time. You're so busy with everything, or you don't want to. That could also be an alternative, but then delegate that. But make sure you do that investment, because the companies that don't do it will be left behind. This is, we're moving into a world where I had this one client. We stopped actually working together um, because they wanted to innovate with AI, but then something really interesting happened and a lot of pushback within the company inside the employees. We got a lot of pushback because of them, and so we had to. The CEO basically said, "Well, it's good, but I guess we can talk about it another time." And so it was this company that does sports articles, okay? And what I basically they have like a department of 10 people writing them, listening to the news, etc. And I talked to him and I basically said, I'm sure we can automate a lot of this. Like, even if you still want the human touch, if you want it to be whatever style or whatever way people write, you can still do that. But AI can really help you with writing. Like, that's like the first thing that came out, right? ChatGPT. And I'm like, I can allow you guys to, I can free up time resources. I can make sure you maybe double or triple the volume of content you guys produce with your current team, you know. And it was very interesting because they tested the system for 1 or 2 months, and we saw they published 100 and sorry, out of 160 generated articles that they did, 50 something percent got actually published. So that was something like 70 something articles actually got published. And then when you take those 73 articles and you multiply it by the average time, how much time does it take to actually write an article? You can immediately, once again, get the hours, which hours is very easy to translate into money, right? And so it was very clear that it was actually helping them and it was being used and they were publishing them. But then the employees, started to wonder, obviously, oh, if we're this more efficient, do we need all 10 of us? And so that's when within the company, some issues started arising. And that was one of the reasons we actually ended up stopping working together. But this is also something interesting. And I'm not sure what advice I could give here. I mean, if you truly care about the business, then, I mean, this will eventually happen. And so uh, I'm actually going to go back to a point I wanted to make.
Okay.
So this company, they in this case at the end refused to actually innovate furthermore. They stopped paying the monthly subscription. The tool was basically stopped from use. But what's going to happen is another company that does the same thing they do are actually going to go all in on this, and they're going to completely destroy you,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden your costs are less, you produce more volume. Like from a business standpoint, it's inevitable. It will happen. Or the people that don't do it, they'll eventually fall behind and die. Like you have to adapt. And whether you like it or not, this is the world we live in, and this is the direction it's going. And billions and billions are being poured into this industry. And open your eyes and do something about it. That's the only thing I can say.
And at the end of the day, business is ruthless, right? So if you don't
Right.
want to innovate, like I'm just gonna say it simply, you're gonna fail. Like this is it at the end of the day. And if you don't realize,
Somebody else will.
yeah,
That's the thing.
somebody else will. It's happening. You need to be like, I'm so excited about AI. Like I've been since I even started building a SaaS. Like I'm waking up so excited every day. I'm full of energy. It's the greatest opportunity ever, at least in my life. Right? That's how I feel. And
In our lifetime, most likely.
yeah, many people that run businesses, there might be in their 50s, 60s, late 40s. Many of them, like even one of my clients said, Alexander, I hate AI. Like I absolutely hate it. But we need your help. We need to implement it as quick as possible. Because he realizes that he needs it, and like that's why I'm gonna help them to implement it in many different areas. Right? So those people are gonna succeed. You like it, you don't like it, you need it. That's how it is. That's how it's gonna be in the future. So that's kind of my question to you. I already hinted at my opinion of how the future will be in terms of how organizations are gonna work, how many employees are gonna be needed. How do you see things from your perspective?
No, 100%. I mean, um, I do believe that businesses, just because it's business is ruthless, like you said, it's inevitable. It's what I mentioned earlier. Like, if you want to optimize, and at the end of the day, that's something you need to be looking for your business. Yes, you can do a lot of things with less people now, and not just less people, do more with less people. Um, the future, how do I see it? This will probably open up a lot of new jobs as well. I don't know. I'm not sure, but if we really go far into the future, if we want to extend the question in that way, I'm a little pessimistic. Unfortunately, understanding where the world is going in terms of, okay, now these large language models are going to be put into robots. These robots are now going to go into our households. And like this is not going to happen tomorrow, but in 5 years, in 10 years, the issue I'm having is it's much likelier that we get it wrong and all this actually kills us in the really long run than the other way around. And so companies right now, there's an AI race, right? You have the US, you have China, um, and the thing is, because it's a race, they're not putting enough safeguards.
Yeah.
They're not putting enough into security. And so, yes, world domination, whoever gets first to this super intelligence, sure, it's going to be crazy. It's the exponential research that is happening and growth and new technologies. But let me just give you one thing and let this sit with you. AI will be great, right? AI, they say, will in the future hopefully cure all disease, right? Because it can do the research much faster than us. It can think of ways like we can't even imagine how much faster and better it is. But let's say it cures cancer. Great, right? This is like super cool. But if just as easy as it can cure cancer, well, just as easy, it can create something that completely wipes us. A COVID, but 10 times stronger. And so that's the thing. Like we're gonna unlock like how do you prevent this from happening? Right? You have this power. how do you make sure it doesn't kill us? And then the thing is, when it's software, when it's on the internet, is one thing. But when we put this into machines that are walking around, that's when it gets really scary because that's when like the options are endless. And I don't want to, I mean, I don't want to think too much far ahead. I'm enjoying today. Life is great. I love life. I'm a super positive person. I try to cherish the little things, my daily coffee, whatever it is. But in the long run, this is something that if you listen to some of the industry leaders and experts in some of other podcasts, usually this is what you hear. It's more pessimistic looking than optimistic. But maybe I stretched the question too far.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting a more short-term answer, but because it is quite difficult to predict the future, and we also have to think about, quantum computers as well, right? What if AI can, like, what if the power behind AI can be a million times faster, and then the AI model is way smarter as well? Then it can do
Mhm.
unimaginable things that we cannot even comprehend right now.
At unimaginable speeds.
Yes. And just kind of as a side note, I think for development specifically, I think there is going to be an exponential amount of more code, more software in the next couple of years. So I think it's a great opportunity right now. So in the short term, this is where I see so much more development happening. And I think one of the
100%.
one of the bottlenecks could be the speed of AI. So if we go back to vibe coding, I've also done it a lot. I'm currently using it for many different use cases. I think it's going to, because we had Zapier in, I don't know, was it 2018 that it got a little bit more popular. Then we had the make.com, the na10, and I think
Mhm.
people are getting technically more and more aware and better. So
Mhm.
before it was, hey, we're gonna hire you if you know how to use Excel and if you know how to use Word, right? Very simple stuff. But that was a requirement. Now nobody even talks about that unless I guess it's some government job or something. That's a little bit more legacy. Now you need NA10, like so many of the different job posts say about automation, NA10, AI. So I think people before learned how to use computers, phones, but now just the average person needs a higher level of technical knowledge. So what I'm
100%.
predicting is those tools like NA10, the shift that I'm seeing, now you need to learn how to use quad code or cursor or lovable. And people in the future, just you might be a support rep, you might be a sales rep, you might be a customer success manager. If you know how to use cursor, let's say not even 3 years, like maybe 6 months from now,
Mhm.
they might be listing that in the job postings, and companies are going to be hiring people that know how to use cursor, but they're really a person who's been doing like supported tech companies, for example, but then they can build out these processes. So it went from Zapier, very simple, then na10, no code, maybe low code, to now just vibe coding, creating full code with something like cursor.
I have to say that I 100% agree. Yeah, if we look more short term, if we're talking about on the side of the employee, you're going to be much more valuable. So yeah, invest in learning AI 100%. But I feel like you hear this everywhere, right? So where do you start is probably the next question. And that's a good one. No, oh my God, hold up 1 second because I gotta ask myself. But I'd say these automation tools are great. It depends what you're doing. It depends what you're trying to achieve. It depends what you want to achieve in your career. 100% learning an automation tool, I'd suggest make.com. That's my personal favorite. It's just the easiest. Um, it allows you to go up to your boss. It allows you to go up to your manager and you just show like a small automation you did. But let's say it saves 1 hour a day. Well, that's 5 hours a week. That's 20 hours a month. Once again, going back into the hours, which is very then easily translatable into what's this worth, right? And so, yeah, take the time. There's also great courses on a platform called Coursera. So I've used that multiple times. And the thing that I really like is you can get a certificate at the end. So there's an exam. And then, I mean, the platform is quite credible. And so getting a certification there will make sure that, oh, it's just credible. And you can post on your LinkedIn, you can actually talk about it, and there's some weight behind it. Um, yeah.
Because I don't really come exactly from a development background, but I did study it in school, and I never had a job in like, as a coder or anything like that. But it helps me so much, just understanding how code works, understanding even how those automations work, understanding what an API is.
Mhm.
So I would say YouTube is the greatest invention like in existence to me. Like just in terms of what has actually helped out my life, YouTube is amazing. So I think, and I've been saying this for a while now, I think the most important skill set is the ability to learn something faster, because there's always new stuff coming out. There is always the new thing, and now it's not every month, it's not every year, it's like a couple of times a week. So having that ability, even if like you've been running a business for 20, 30 years, like you need to move way faster now. You need to constantly be
Mhm.
learning, and you need to know how to get that information and be extremely quick. You don't want to sit down, open up a couple of blog articles, read it slowly. Like you need to be moving so fast, and you need to be really excited about it. If you're not excited,
Mhm.
I don't see a business owner winning if they're not excited about AI. And even in other fields, you need to be excited about robotics coming in the next couple of years if you run more like a local business. I know Amazon fired a bunch of like couple of thousand workers
Oh
recently.
yeah, so many,
Like,
so many. They're being replaced by robots as we speak.
yeah.
100%.
So why is Amazon still at the top? Well, they're one of the first ones to start innovating, right? And to implement it. And it's a big company, so you might think, oh, a big company, it's gonna take them a little bit longer to do these changes. Well, not really, right?
Mhm.
We see this now with AI that the smaller companies are probably gonna be in many times the last ones to actually do it. And the big companies have been aware of this and have been doing it for a while.
Oh, they're investing everything. I mean, the big tech giants, at least in the US, they're going all in. Like, I don't know if you've like listened or researched this, but it's billions being poured, and also their government is backing it. Trump is super pro AI, and so they're really doubling down on this.
Yeah. Oh,
But I also want to agree with what you said and say, I think in the business world right now, you're being really rewarded for executing fast a lot. And yes, for some reason, a lot of companies are still being like slow. They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to hop on that exploration call. They don't want to understand why how AI is going to help them. And I think this is like a big opportunity for those that are actually that move a little faster. You're gonna go way ahead. And so, yeah, I suggest you take some time to learn more about AI if you can, or delegate it, right?
like hire the right people. So always, like let's say you're just an average B2B company, let's say, and you want to implement it in your sales department. Well, when you're hiring a sales leader or VP of sales, director of sales, make sure that that person knows his stuff extremely well. Then they can select the right tools. They can think, do we need a custom solution? Is there one already on the market? what are our sales reps already doing. So I would say, like, be extremely careful with who you hire, right? Because if you're not even an AI company, but you know that you need AI, those leaders, they need to be the ones that are pushing AI. Because if you just
Mm.
depend on a lower level person in the organization, like an SDR, to implement for the whole sales department, I've seen that. I've seen it, but it's not common, and they don't really have the authority to go to the leader and say, hey, like, what you have me do, it's not the right thing, right? It's a difficult conversation. So leadership is the one that's responsible for these changes, and if you are a department leader or a company leader, you need to be the one that's making sure those things are being implemented. So one great thing is to hire technical, like a little bit more technically aware people that are still really good at
Mm.
whatever they do for the lower level positions. But I think the most important roles are those leadership positions. Like if we go to support, like the head of customer support at an e-commerce brand, right? That person needs to be the most aware about those tools because they have the actual authority to implement them. So if you
Yeah.
are a leader in any sort of department, you need to be the most educated, even more than the CEO or the founder, let's say. So we said, how can people start? What I think is YouTube. Go to YouTube, watch videos, like type in if you're in sales or if you're in support of, or if you are whatever you're trying
Be
to implement,
proactive.
just watch a couple of videos on it, see the different types of solutions, do a little bit more research, and then you're going to be a lot more aware, and then you're actually going to have more questions than confusion, because people start with confusion, then they can have real questions. So let's Valeri, let's give some examples in terms of solutions, so we're not just theoretically talking. What are kind of your
All right.
favorite use cases that you've implemented for companies?
I mean, the biggest use case and the thing I have most experience with is 100% chatbots. This is the easiest thing you can do, and it really lifts up pressure from your call center or for your customer support or for anything that is communicating with the client. Clients or the your users, they're often lazy, right? They go on your website and they cannot click on two links to find whatever. Easiest thing is they see a phone number and they call you. And so one of our clients, they were receiving around 100 calls per day, every day. And so this woman, um, she she basically she reached out. It's this big company doing hunting stuff, and so a lot of their a lot of their sales is also like seasonal. And so she called me just before the season started, and she expressed me her pain point. And she was like, during these seasonal times, I have much more important things than to explain to someone something really basic that it's on the website, but they just don't want to find it, you know? And so what we ended up doing is building them a chatbot that took all the information that exists on their website. Not only that, plus other policies or any type of information that could help the customer, the user, as they're on their website for whatever question they have. We put this into an AI chatbot, and we saw around a 63% decrease in those calls. So we got around 40 something um, after a month and a bit. Um, Another use case with chatbots is lead generation, and that's also very powerful. So for another company, what we did is every time somebody would click on an ad, it brings you on a landing page. Landing page is, the page where whatever you've built, your offer for whatever you're selling after the ad was clicked. And so what we did is that we implemented a chatbot for them. But apart from that, we we made the chat bot initialize the conversation when somebody opens the ad. And so this really boosted conversion rates because sometimes you have the buyers, they click, I'm ready to buy. But sometimes you have the people that are on like an awareness stage level. They know they need the solution, but they haven't figured out all the competitors. They're not completely sure. And so for those people that aren't completely sure, the chatbot really allowed them to two things. Number one, answer any question they have for whatever it is and build that trust to lead up to the sale. Or let's say maybe they're not as tech savvy, maybe they don't like using chatbots. The chatbot would prompt some sort of a lead capture. And so once the lead is captured, either someone from their actual call center would call them, and then this just brings even more trust. It answers even questions, whatever they might have on the phone, and could lead to the sale. Or, even if that doesn't happen, you still capture their information, which is huge because there's another thing called dead lead reactivation. And this is all the people that are sitting in your database that are not your customers, but you have their information. And so many companies have this problem where they're sitting on gold. Some of these big enterprises or some companies that have been in the business for 20, 25 years, they have so many customers that were once customers or just leads, but they don't have the capacity. You cannot pay someone to start calling them one by one. It's super inefficient. And so we also have built solutions where we either have AI reach out to them via text, and this can be on like a communication channel that they're already using. It can be WhatsApp, it can be Instagram, it can be Facebook, it can be even via SMS, or something that now the technology is actually finally starting to work much better in Bulgarian language, because this was really good in English, but in Bulgarian language is finally starting to kick off. The market is finally becoming more ready. Companies actually looking for this, and these are the voice agents. And so that lead is captured. But I gave the example where the call center reaches out to make the sale. But AI can do that, and not only can it can do that within the first 60 seconds. And there's this really famous guy called Alex Ramosi. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah.
And I watched this one video where he talks about they did a study, and basically, there's thing called time to what is it?
Speed to lead.
Speed to lead. Exactly. Thank you so much. Speed to lead. And right. And he talks about how actually doing that in the first 90 seconds increases your chance of conversion with 400% based on all their companies and like all the research they've done. And so this is something you can do. You can have a voice agent call them, answer question, and either forward the person to like someone that closes the deal. It can send them a unique offer to that customer. There's so many routes you can go, right? But this is something else we have done. Another thing that some customers need is some sort of an automation, but this is more the boring part. It's not as interesting to me. It's where you build something like we talked about earlier with Make.com, NA8, or Zapier, and in some way it automates like a repetitive task, and this saves them time. But I want to go back to the voice
Can I
agents.
just mention something quickly? I think we were talking about how to start with AI, and I just thought about the most amazing question anybody that has a business can ask themselves, or anybody that's a leader in a certain department or does anything in any company. The question is, what should I ideally be doing that I'm not doing? Ideally, you should be calling in 90 seconds. Ideally, you should be following up with everybody. Ideally, you should research everybody. Ideally, you should not have to manually do all of these things. So you don't need any understanding of AI. Just sit back and ask yourself, what should I ideally be doing to get better business outcomes? And then get a sheet of paper, write those things down, and then you can research each one of them one by one. You can see, okay, I should be calling leads as quick as possible. Okay, well, there is voice agents for that. There is also, I should be responding to my emails, or I should categorize my different support tickets for my support team, ideally, so they can have an easier time talking to these people. Or I should have something additional to my CRM where I can see all of the customer data in a better way, and then the customer success rep can go in there and see all of that information instead of having to look at different tools. So just ask yourself, what's the ideal situation look like? And now with vibe coding, with all of these tools, you can make your dreams become a reality. That's why
I like that.
It's true, because I've built so many things internally that just a year ago I was sitting back and I was like, whoa, I need this, but it's gonna take me a couple of months and tens of thousands if I want to pay somebody to do it. Now you can just do anything. If you can just put your head down, get educated on the topic, and then just go and implement it quickly.
Yeah, the bar of entry hasn't been lower. It's absolutely crazy. And like another thing is, te as a business owner, I'm sure you have a lot of crazy ideas. You have a lot of things you've wanted to try. And right now, prototyping has never been faster and easier. And you don't even need a developer. Like that's get your hands dirty. Like try it out. Don't be afraid. Just there's websites like lovable.dev. Go there, whatever your crazy idea is, type it out and see what AI is gonna do. Like within a few hours, you're probably gonna have something that is somewhat working and you can understand, okay, this is cool, this is not cool. Can this actually be used? And like you can answer a lot of questions that way.
Who said this? I think Sam Altman said that it's the decade of the idea guy. So whoever has better ideas is gonna win, because you can now actually implement on those ideas. So
I like this.
This opens up the opportunity for many different kinds of businesses, or just improving your internal operations. So again, like everything that we're talking about, you should be extremely excited about AI, because even if you are a smaller company, now you can compete with the big companies and you can actually take them out of business if you just implement faster. And if you're a big company, you can come crashing down if you don't do these things. So now it's really a great opportunity for the leaders in every market to go down, and if you're a small company, for you to go up. Or if you're already a leader, you can even build a moat for yourself where you're so much better than everybody else, because everything that you do is better, it's cheaper, it's faster, you convert a higher percentage of leads, you call them faster, for example. Your teams don't need to go between many different tools. They have everything in front of their face and you're tracking everything.
Building custom is good.
Yeah.
So that's something else. Like it's a use case where when you have like 10 different tools, yeah, you're quite inefficient. And building a custom solution often allows you to actually combine all of those things. Just wanted to throw out there.
I think it's one of the biggest opportunities right now in terms of what's actually causing issues even with AI context. Because what if you had all of your context from different tools all in one place, and then you can give that to different kinds of AI agents? Because there's so many different platforms like N8N. Hey N8N, write me a follow-up email so I can follow up with Valeri if I'm selling something to him. Well, who is Valeri? What did you talk about? What is his company, etc.? What if you don't feed that context? Then it's just gonna say, hey Valeri, just following up, let's hop on a call. Like there is no substance there. So I think the future is going to be two things. If you're using AI to communicate with people, one is don't make it seem like it's AI, and you do that by standing out, and you can use different marketing techniques like pattern disrupts, showing something novel, right? So people stop because everybody, even people that are not that tech savvy, they go through LinkedIn, through content, through Instagram, through their email so much faster. So you need to stand out immediately. And if you use AI, it's the same AI generating everybody's responses. So just subconsciously, you're gonna know if it's AI or not. That's one skill set. And then the other one I would say is understanding how to get all of that data and understanding how the process would look. And then again, ideally, from a sales perspective or a support perspective, what do you need to know about the customer? What's the step-by-step flow that needs to happen? Because many people just want to jump into AI, but like, wait a minute, you don't know how to do it manually. Why are you trying to automate something? So again, most powerful technique in the world is this sheet of paper, write down step by step exactly, ideally how you want the process to happen. So I want to follow up with you. I need all of the history of the conversations. If I have a meeting recorder, I want all of that info as well. Then if it's with support and it's a SaaS company, what's the usage of our product? Are they using it? What's their plan? What's their previous support tickets? Right now, this is very segmented. So the opportunity I'm seeing for people is to either, like, I think there's already platforms like this. They unite all of your data into one place, and then you use that as a database for your agents. So you just link 10 tools into one different tool, and then you point your voice agents to use that as a knowledge base. Or the other opportunity here is for more unified tools that handle more different steps of the operations in each department, and then building AI agents on top of those, on top of that data.
Yeah. I'm not sure what else to add to this, but 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about these things because, like, I am, yesterday I recorded another podcast with a really great founder, and he was basically saying, "Hey, I never try to predict the market. I He's kind of skeptical about these things. He's very successful, by the way, but he's very skeptical. But I'm more so thinking about how can we predict the market, where are these things going, and I think it's easy to see if you actually think about these things, because I do have some, like, I wouldn't even call it lonely nights, but I just sit back and I'm like, I need 30 minutes today and think about where this is going and what I can do. So if you're passionate about this, you have a business, I think it's a great practice to just sit down and think about these things. Have a piece of paper and just put your thoughts out. Then all of the
I
technology
like
that
this
they have
approach.
is gonna help you implement them, right?
Yeah, I like this approach. It's very simple. Anyone can do it, and just get your hands dirty, Just spare 15, 20 minutes and see how much you can learn.
Yes, and let's say a couple more practical examples. What types of it could be in percentages, it could be in exact figures, like cost cuts or revenue increases have you seen by implementing different solutions? What types of results can businesses expect?
Well, I can give you an example. I'm working right now with one of the biggest, if not the biggest, gyms in Bulgaria. It's called Pulse Fitness, and I think they're voted like 12 years in a row the the best one or something like this. I think I read on their website. And so with them, um, what we're doing right now is actually implementing them a chatbot, a voice agent, a full-on package. They wanted everything, which I was really surprised because it's a gym business, but they wanted everything. But they do have a lot of marketing. They do have a lot of outbound calls, inbound calls that are being handled by voice agents. They're gonna have a lot of their inquiries a lot of their inquiries, less inquires towards the customer support. And with them, we have, I can give some numbers that are estimations, and maybe if I hop on another podcast in some time, we can see if that's true. But the chatbot on its own, just through lead generation, is projected to be making them an additional 5,000 euros each month. And the way we came to this conclusion is they have an average of 45 to 60,000 users, customers that, well, not customers, users that open their website on a monthly basis. Now, if you take 45,000 of these users and put a very low conversion rate of 1%, that's 450 people, right? If you have 450 people, and let's say the chatbot just increase it with 25%, just 25%, that's an extra 112 people. And so those 112 people, if we take their average subscription for the gym membership, which I think it's around like 85 levs, which is 42 euros and a half or something like that. And so you multiply that by 112, you get 10,000. And so these are like very conservative numbers, but this way is what we're projecting just by implementing a chatbot. But obviously, this it has a it on a it's on a big scale, right? You have a lot of users, but it's just an example that I can give. Um, Another company called Transcard Financial Services. So Transcard is actually the first credit card company to operate in Bulgaria. They're the very first to actually offer this as a product. With them, we also integrated a chatbot. And once again, by the way, you can look these numbers up, but I have to agree that with experience they match. We were able to decrease with 65% their customer inquiries just through using the chatbot. And so I built them a analytics dashboard where not only do they saw less volume with their customer support, but also it was very interesting, but because there was an additional layer to this. With the custom dashboard that I built them, we were able to track the most common questions being asked. And so around that, we also changed the website to address these questions easier. And so now it's like the benefits start stacking on top of each other. Um, yes, with voice agents, I cannot give that precise numbers. It's also harder to really estimate there. Um, because once again, you have to take a salary, you have to take in consideration how much otherwise somebody's calling. I mean, again, a lot of these calculations I did also give out throughout the podcast already, but it's just the way I present my solutions, the way we think, and then how we see the results.
Yeah. So I also want to share some numbers. And again, I asked you in percentages specifically because it depends on the size of the business. Now, if it's
Right.
a nine-figure business and they save 65% of the time of the
You
customer support.
yes, let's talk percentages. If we just do that, just to answer maybe, you can easily see around 50 to 70%. You can see decrease in customer support inquiries by implementing voice agents and chatbots. 100%. You can just not only that, then you can see increase in the amount of leads you have. You can see increase in your sales. Those percentages I don't have, and it really varies to what business you have and what you're selling. But at least the most experience and what I can confidently say is 50 to 70% in customer support tickets. And these are those really basic FAQ questions, which
And that
they're
takes
on
the
the
most
website
time
or that
usually.
make takes the most time. There are majority of them, and you can easily solve that.
Yeah. And the people that work for you, you gave one example how they're unhappy, but I have seen it how especially in support. The people that are in the support department, they're so much happier. They don't need to answer 10 of the same questions every day. And that just these more complex or custom inquiries are sent to them. So their job is, just from their perspective, a lot more enjoyable. And some other numbers for my SaaS, for example, it's not so much of a custom solution. You can customize it. There are some workflows, but that increases close rates by about 50 to 60%, at least for my company. It didn't for some other ones testing it. And it's simply by making sure the people do those ideal things all of the time and they do it efficiently. So I literally just sat down, and I have lots of experience in this. I've talked to just dozens and dozens of different sales experts before creating the software, and I wrote down a list of many different things that you should ideally be doing. And then I just literally made the software to help salespeople do all of those things. So everybody listening to this, just do this. You want a software idea, you want an idea of how to start a new company, or you want some ideas of what you should be implementing in your own company, just do the strategy I told you. Right? I really love that one. And we're running short on time, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about vibe coding, because it's something I'm really passionate about recently. The biggest issue I think people have is, one, they don't really know what they even want. So that's again a skill that needs to come out. Just like I said, the skill of learning, you need to develop the skill of properly explaining your ideas, and it comes with experience. If you're confused about the solution that you want to create, you cannot do it, right? That's why NA10
this couldn't be more right. This couldn't be more right.
So NA10 is great, for example, because it's step by step. But even when you're creating something with NA10, make.com, Zapier, you still need to have it in your head or on a sheet of paper before you actually create it. The issue with vibe coding, I think, is that it's not as visual in terms of like a workflow, in terms of what you're creating. So first do that, is my advice. And then also would be very good if you learn kind of the basics of software. What's an API? What does, even going a little bit into architecture of a software app if you try to build something more complex. Just the terminology, I think, is the most important, so you can actually understand how the machine works in front of you. This black box that, you know, when it doesn't work, you slap it and sometimes it works, so you turn it off and on. Right? It can be confusing sometimes, but learn how it works, and then you can speak English, but with the right terminology so it understands you. You don't need to have a specific way to write the code in too much detail.
Mm-hmm. So last month I did a hackathon, which for those who don't know what it is, it's a competition. You have like a set amount of hours. Let's say ours was 36, and for 36 hours, teams gather and they try to hack together a software or something to the best of their abilities. And so, by the way, VoiceFlow was the first sponsor of that hackathon. So they really like me. They really know me, the community. But I want to add that third place was someone that had never programmed in his life. And he went into a competition for software development with a room of other people that had 5 years, 10 years. Some had their own companies as well. And he came out third, which is crazy. And he built everything fully with AI, speaking English to the system. That for me is absolutely crazy. It's crazy what people, everyday people that didn't study this, people that don't have a degree in it, you know, what they can build. So vibe coding truly right now, it's the biggest opportunity ever. You can be 10 years old, you can be 60 years old. Write the idea on paper, write it out on your computer, copy it, paste it into something like Lovable, and watch it come to life. And I 100% agree with you that spending a little bit of time of learning the terminologies is crucial because, first of all, it will answer you and give you information back with those terminologies. And so you have to understand what it actually is telling you. But also, you being able to use them when you tell it what to do will significantly improve whatever it's building, right?
What's your last piece of advice for people that want to do an AI transformation in their company? What's the most important thing you would say to them that they should remember?
Okay, this is the part where I'm gonna sell myself. So, biggest advice, head over to Valchy.ai. We're very experienced. We have worked with plenty of enterprise companies as well as small businesses, even individual people. Like I've had a therapist be my client. And so we've done all sorts of solutions, whatever you can think of. And I personally have a decade of web development experience. The other team members are also quite experienced. And so, whatever your needs are, even if we don't work together, spending those 15, 20 minutes with me on a call, maybe potentially getting yourself an AI audit will really open the doors to see the full potential of your company and your business.
Yeah, and it's free. So, like, you're not fully saying
Exactly.
selling yourself. At least people can obviously try it. And
It is free.
yeah,
So head over to Valchy.ai.
yeah. So I'm
uh,
gonna leave all of our links in the description section below. And it was really nice talking to you. Really enjoyed it. So thank you,
Likewise.
Valeri, for this podcast.
Thank you.